Sissity, and today we are going to talk about language development. Okay, language development is one of the areas that are deficit in autism, and it varies according to children. And today, hopefully, by the end of the video, you should be able to see that what are the different areas that we need to work on and how it is affected in autism. Okay, before we get so overall language has three different areas. One is communication, okay, where the child tells his needs. Second is social, where the child uses language to engage with you. Third is the demand based language, where you ask a question and the child answers the question. Okay, but before we get to that, the first question we need to ask for your answer is, what is language? So a language is a tool. Why is it a tool? Because it is a means to share what is the thought in your mind to the other person. So when I think about an apple, the apple by itself in my mind is an image. It's something that is red in color. It has a particular shape, and if I want to share that thought to the other person, I have to use something, because I can't share the image to the other person, right? So that symbol, the APPLE, that is a symbol that society culture has paired with that image of the apple, and it has created a common ground, a common currency to share that thought from one person to another to get to get the end result of I get my apple. So that is what language is. It's not, the words by themselves have no value. They only get value because they have a purpose of sharing from one end to another. Okay. What are prerequisites of language? So development is something that always happens step by step. It does not happen. Development is like building a building. It happens stage by stage. You do not go from one stage to another. You do not jump from one first stage to the third stage. Okay. So for language to develop, there are two basic concepts that have to develop. One is theory of mind, and second is object permanence. And I'm going to explain that both of them to you, and then I'm going to talk about how that differs in autism. So what is theory of mind? Theory of mind is understanding that what I'm thinking is not there in other person's mind. Okay, that's a very basic concept which is there in infants when they are born. Okay, that's the reason why when an infant is born, they cry, because they understand that if I don't cry, if I don't do something, I am going to die, because I am completely helpless over here. All right, and that is the first stage. And what happens then is that when the infant cries, the adult comes in and the carer comes in, and the carer will pair words to the infant's cry. So the carer will say hungry, the carer will say mum, the carer will say shishi, shushu. That's how they will use single words and pair that feeling, and the infant will start understanding, acha, this feeling that I'm having in my tummy is called mum. This feeling that I'm having in my tummy, in my groin area is dirty, change. Okay, and what will happen is the adult will pair it for like 6 months or so, and then you will find that the infant will start using it. So they will, around 9 months of age, 1 year, they will start saying mum, they will start saying chichi, and that's how they will learn the association of the symbol to the feeling. Okay, progressively as the child starts growing older, what will happen is, and he starts moving around, he will have more experiences. So he will have toys that he will like, he will have people that he will like, and again the process of pairing keeps on happening, because every single time the adult will very naturally go off and pair a single word to it. That's the reason why, if you see, when you talk to newborn babies, no adult will ever go off and use long sentences with a newborn baby. They will use single words, they will use exaggerated tones, they will use loud expressions to catch the child's attention, and pair the word symbol to the feeling or the object which they will start using. So this process starts from infancy and it goes on ahead till adolescence. Okay. And the main part to keep in mind is that this is a very, very, very crucial concept that does not develop in people on the spectrum that easily. Okay. Obviously, like we talked about in the first part, everything is arranged. So it's not like it doesn't develop zero, but it does not. That this is where you have a major deficit area. So because of that, the since they don't have the concept in their head that okay, if it is there in my mind, I have to share. In autism, an autistic individual will sort of assume that if it is there in my head means it's there in your head also, and that's the reason why he will just do the crying, and the adult and the autistic child will get stuck in this loop where the child will just use crying and agitation as a way to communicate that something is wrong, and the adult's job then becomes to figure out what they require. So literally the child and the adult get stuck in that first 6 months of infancy that is there. Okay. The second, but the funny part is, yes, they don't develop theory of mind, but they do develop object permanence. Okay, as they grow older. So what is object permanence? Object permanence is basically understanding that if something is not there inside doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It is there somewhere. I can use a symbol, I can use a word to get it. Okay. It generally develops around the age of 2.5 to 2.5 upwards. Okay. Now, autistic children do develop object permanence, but because they do not develop theory of mind that easily, that well, what happens is that they develop a accommodation where they basically do pulling, hand pulling. Okay. So what they would do is they would first initially try to get that thing by themselves, and if they don't get it by themselves, so they understand the sheer fact that they've gone to get it by themselves means they understand that the thing is there, the object permanent, that object exists even though it's not there in their sight. If they don't reach it, then they will take the adult and they will pull the adult physically, and they will take the adult to it. Or say for example, if the object is somewhere outside, then they will wait for the adult to reach in the vicinity of that thing, and then they will communicate. So uh, so 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 that's the reason why, if you see, communication is a deficit area with autism, because the theory of mind that doesn't develop, and object permanence does develop to a certain degree, and that develops a faulty way of communicating in autism. Okay. Now, what are the steps of communication? Okay, this is just to give you an outline of how communication develops in normal children and where it can get stagnant in our children. Okay, so the first step is pointing with joint attention and body movements. This is where the child starts has developed some amount, has developed, definitely has theory of mind, has developed some amount of object permanence, and he has understood that this is just before speech. He has understood that I have to point, or I have to do some sort of body movement to indicate that I want something. So they will use eye gaze. So they will understand the purpose of eye gaze, which is again a big deficit area with autism. They understand that if I look at a person, I get his attention. And if I look at the person and I look at that thing and I point at it, that means the person will understand that I want that particular thing. Okay. And this ability is something that is not there in many autistic children, especially the ones who do not develop language on the first go. Okay. The second stage of in communication is making sounds. So the children start understanding that you have to, they hear these adults talking, so they understand there is something that comes out of the mouth, and they do baba, mama, that sort of stuff that is there. And this does develop in autistic children, but it does not develop in a coherent manner. So they don't stay non-verbal. They do make sounds, but it does not move to the next step of the single words. So the single words come in when the pairing that the adult has done of the noun and the action in the initial stage from birth to 1.5 years happen. That pairing goes faulty. Okay, so typically a child would pair and then he would speak. But since that pairing doesn't happen in the right manner and there's a fault with getting attention, the child may get stuck at different levels. So some children will not speak at all, some children will say words but they will not use it in the right manner, and some children will use it but they will use it only in a limited format. Okay, so that's your single words. The next step after the single words coming in is the adult then starts, because now the single words have come in a neurotypical child, the adult will start associating additional nouns, additional adjectives to it. Sorry, additional descriptive words to it. So something like colors, shapes. So they will start saying red apple, black cat. They will start associating this. And now, since the child understands the cat, he can understand the black is something about the color. He can understand the red is something about the color. Okay, this process obviously does not happen with autistic children, and if it does happen, it happens in a scripted format. Okay, now this is for children who have a speech delay. There's a portion of children who do not have a speech delay, and they will also get stuck, but they will get stuck at a later level. So the next part is the communication of more information, sharing of more information. Okay, so now once the child has come to that point, his world is expanding. He's like 2 years of age. Now he can go to the shop and he can point at things. He can say, "I want chocolate. I want dash." Now since his world has expanded, the adult needs more information to get to what the child wants, and that's when you will have, which one do you want? You want the big one or the small one? Or which one do you want? Where is it? It's up. It's up. Okay, fine, I'll give it up. So you will find again every single time it will be the child will do this, the adult will do the scaffold of the next language, then the child will pick that up, then the adult will do the next step, then the child will pick that up, then the adult will do the next step. This process is called scaffolding. Okay. After that, the next step is sharing of thoughts and feelings. So the child, once the child is around 2.5, 3, the child is kind of at a place where they are good at sharing nouns and actions, colors, and using nouns, actions, colors, prepositions. So they're able to say, "I want chocolate, I want a big piece, it is kept in the fridge." They're able to answer that. However, they're not able to talk about feelings. So if mommy doesn't give the chocolate, I'm upset. They're not able to talk about feelings. And that's where you will find that the adult will start pairing the feeling. Acha, you're upset. So when they hug them, you'll say upset, angry, gussa. Okay. If the child at that moment also starts understanding society, so if the child goes to the father and complains, the father will say, "Acha, mama ne nahi diya." So he's sharing a thought. So that's how, if you see, the communication develops, and you can see that in autism this deficit is there. Literally, the children can go off trajectory at every point. So some children will go off at the pointing and joint attention. They will not start it only. There are some who will get stuck on the sound stage. There are some who will get stuck on the single word stage. There are some who will get once they pass the single word stage, most of the time they do kind of go through the remaining steps, but they may be scripted, they may be limited. Okay, so this is a huge area, and it is learned step by step. It is not learned by just feeding the child the language. Okay, the other area, which is commenting and sharing. So communication. So the other way, if you look at typical children, when they interact, children don't just interact by communication. They also do a major chunk of language that they use is just sharing. So children are naturally inclined to share what they are experiencing with their carers, and this is a very big premise of language development, because it is not a need based use of language. It is basically just, I am just enjoying my process of sharing my experience with you. And this is a huge deficit area with autism, because it does not develop. So, autism being a social deficit, this concept of I should just share for time pass, which children or typical children do very, very, very naturally. they would not do it. Like, say, like if you have a typical child and you just walk with a typical child, the typical child will be like, whatever he sees, अच्छा mama देखो cat है, mama देखो पानी है, mama देखो dash है. They'll just do it very naturally. But if you have an autistic child, the autistic child will step out of the house and his concept will be, okay, I have to go to the car or I have to go to the garden. So he will only see garden, car, a shop as the end. He's not going to see all of the things that happen, from the lift to the gardener shop. So this is a first step that is missing. And because this first step is missing, your second step of conversation is not going to come, because they are not used to talking to you. So obviously they are not going to have a conversation about what they are experiencing, because they have not placed language in their experience. So if they have not, while they are in a place, they have not, like if they have gone, let's say for example, if they've gone to a birthday party and they have not placed language on the things that they have seen in the birthday party, which I saw balloon, I saw streamers, I saw magician. They have not placed language. They only know the cake. Okay, because that's a need. I want to eat the cake. Then when you come back home and you ask them, okay, what did you do in the birthday party? The narration and the conversation is not going to come. Okay, because they have just not placed the language in that place. They have not placed the language in a non-need based process. Okay, because they have not been able to do that, that's the reason why your sharing of insight, which is basically looking at yourself from outside, is not going to develop, because they are still, the sharing as a concept is only not developed. So if you see, again, this is a process also, like commenting and sharing starts at the age of around 2, 1.5, 2. This is when the children start walking and they're holding our hands and we point and we show things. So like we'll be pointing, we'll show things, and after some time we'll show a cat, we'll show a tree, and after some time he will show the cat or he will show the tree, to you. Then it builds up to actions. We will see someone, the child sees something that is interesting, we'll point to that thing and we'll place action. Auntie is talking, auntie is walking. Then these two come together and they come to conversation. Then they come to narration, like, okay, auntie is talking, and then uski baad, what happened after that? That is, then after that, slowly how, after the concept of narration comes in place, that you have to remember and talk about what you experience, then the sharing of language, sharing of insight comes in. So the whole process literally starts around 2.5 years of age, and again it develops till the age of adolescence. Okay, language sharing insight is something where you can extrapolate, where you can view the yourself from the outside world, view the whole scene and describe, अच्छा ये हुआ, इसने वो किया, इसने ये किया, फिर मैंने ये किया, I did this, that person did this, and then this happened and this happened. All of that takes time and it develops until 8, 9, 10, 12 years of age. Okay, so again, this social aspect of language development is a long haul process, and you can see how many steps are there and how it is connected. Okay, and this is an area that is a deficit in autism, and this is an area that is not worked by therapies in autism, because this is an area that cannot be worked on by the therapist only. It has to be worked by the therapist and the parent together, because there is no value in doing commenting in a therapist room. It's an artificial setup. Okay, but the value is in commenting outside, where in the child's environment. The value is after commenting, coming up and using the getting the child to share that experience up. Okay, which is only going to happen with the parent or the carer. Once the child starts answering singular questions, then the value is in the child narrating an episode, not rectifying and vomiting out a story. Okay, so this process again is of no use if you do it with the therapist. It's more useful if you do it with the primary carer. Okay, So like I said, all of those areas, the big part about what is common in all of those areas is there is a huge element. It goes beyond need. It is now you want to connect with people, and you're using language as a tool to connect with people, to share your experiences, to share your thoughts, to have a bond, to create a bond between each other, to ask for help. Okay. The last stage of language is demand based language. Okay, demand based language is where is a formal format of language. This is what most therapies tend to work with. Okay, and ABA is like heavy on it. All right. Demand based language is taught in two parts. One, the first is the receptive language, and second is the expressive language. You always teach receptively and then move it to expressively. So receptive language is we teach two different things in receptive language. One is to follow commands, so give, put in, stand up, sit down, jump. These are following commands. Okay, and second is we pair the symbolic value of that word to the object. So say for example, when I say give apple, now I'm pairing the word apple to the image apple or the object apple. So that's how I'm pairing the symbolic value to get the child to understand the symbolic value to the word. Okay, after the child is able to understand the command and the symbolic value, then I will move it to the next stage, which is I will ask, what is this? And the child will say apple. Okay. So this is what generally gets worked heavily in therapy setups. Okay. Now, like I said, all of these areas, when you're dealing with autism, all of these areas have to be covered, because you cannot just develop you cannot just focus on the social aspect of it. You need to focus on language, you need to focus on communication, you need to focus on you need to expose the child to language through demand based programs. Sometimes you have to expose the child to language through communication based programs, and sometimes you have to expose the language to the child through commenting. So basically all three together is we will expose the child to the language in that way, which the child will be able to use by us creating conditions for the child to use. So let's take an example. So say for example, if I am teaching if I want to teach a noun, which is say roti, okay, chapati, all right. So I would pair the language up by whenever the child gets hungry, I put it as eating, and then I give him through communication. He gives me a PEXA card, of hungry. Once he gives me a PEXA card of hungry, I ask him, what do you want to eat? He points to roti, and I give him roti. So now I've paired the image of roti to the word roti and the object that he gets to eat. All right. And through the process of using PEX, I have shown him that you have to tell me, then only I will understand. Otherwise, I will not understand, because the process of me taking a card and giving it to somebody shows the child in a visual format what is actually happening in communication. All right. But say for example, I want to teach cup, or I want to teach plate, or I want to teach t-shirt. Now there is no concept of mand over there. There's no asking over there, right? So I have two formats of exposing the child to it. I can expose the child to it through commenting. Then whenever I pick up a t-shirt, I say t-shirt. Whenever I pick up a cup, I can say cup. And or I can do it in the format of tabletop, where I keep the cup and I say give cup and he gives me cup. So I can do either or, but if I do on table, then I have to make an effort to take it off the table and show it or do it on table. If I do it off the table, then I have to make sure that he does it on table too. So it is a back and forth process. Okay, so basically all three of these areas have to be covered if you want to make sure that the language develops, and they have to be incremental. You cannot just teach steps in between. So you cannot go from nouns and actions and then directly go to narration. Okay, it has to go step by step. Right? Now, key thing to understand when you talk about autism is that autism, if the child has no speech, doesn't mean that he has no language. A non-verbal child can also understand. We can teach children, non-verbal children, language, and teach them to use language by using ASEs. We can teach them to use language by using AVAs. It just means that we have to be more creative and we have to come out of that box of speech. Okay, so what is the end? The end is, what I hope you understand is that language is not as simple as say, okay, fine, I've taught him cards on the table, or I've taught him deto in my house. It's a process. It is something that starts at infancy, whether it is for communication, whether it is for social interaction, or whether it is for on demand. It starts from infancy and it goes up. Okay, there is a process happening between the adult and the child, and it is not possible for a whole for holistic language to develop without the carer, the primary carer, or the carers involved to be involved in the process. So doing this thing of, okay, I send him to therapy and he comes back home and I don't have to do much, or I have to just do a basic amount of it, is not going to work. You need to understand what the therapist is doing. You need to understand how you're going to use that in your daily life. And you need to understand how your language, whether it is in the format of communication, whether it is in the format of sharing of thoughts, whether it is in format of demand, is going to change as the child grows older. And that change is important. Okay. That's it for today. Thank you.